Welcome back to Off the Thread Reds, where a group chat of above average Reds fans overreact, overanalyze, keep coming back for more. And today we got a special episode for you all. We have our fan thread Colin. We thought that since the way the Reds have been playing recently, that we want to hear from you guys. I think people are tired of hearing it from us. And in this fan thread Colin marathon, we really want people out there to kind of throw out some questions, ideas, thoughts of what your Cincinnati Reds are currently doing. What are the frustrations? We're trying to have about a caller every 15 minutes. We'll see how long this episode goes. But to start things off before callers start coming in, let's go ahead and talk Padres series. Boys, what are you guys' thoughts on this and everything that we kind of see or saw that unfolded over the weekend?
I feel like it was the most predictable outcome possible. Um, so I haven't been on for a little while. If any viewers are watching, I got a wedding ring on my hand. Life's been good. Was dancing all over the place on Saturday night. So all that's been awesome, and I have not been disappointing myself too much with Reds baseball, and I'll tell you why. Last time I talked, I said the Royals suck. And if the Reds can't win the series against the Royals, I am emotionally out on this team. And so that was my ultimatum. We went in there, we stunk it up against the Royals, and then follow that up with no redemption in St. Louis, get swept, no life, and then coming to San Diego, games are at 9:38. Like, yeah, I'll choose sleep over watching the second half of any of these games, and they rewarded me for that decision the first night. Um, Bullpen blow up, and then they won on Tuesday night. So sure, good win. TJ Antone gets the win. Happy about that, and Sal having a clutch moment. I think could be good down the line for this franchise. Him showing up in big moments like that. But then today showed again that like this team is just not built to be playing competitive baseball in September even.
John was so mad that he just left. That's just how I interpret
Yeah.
it, right? He just didn't want to talk about it. Leading up to the series, I think I said we were gonna get swept or lose 2 of 3, and it was gonna be heartbreaking a lot of the times, and it looks like it was. Even the game that we won, it was the roller coaster of having to deal with that. John, welcome back. I was just letting them know how I was right, how we were right about the Padres prediction in terms of just frustrating wins and even more frustrating losses. It stinks like you get a good outing from Brady Singer, you wasted Chase Burns' start, and you come out of this road trip 1-5, and then also too you pair that up with just that horrible Royals series. Like, in the words of Frank the Tank, this team has no heart, and I just, to Joey's point, it's hard to be emotionally invested. I didn't watch one inning of the Padres series because I knew just they weren't competitive, and that may sound like I'm a fair weather fan, but um, sometimes you got to take a step back and appreciate, the summer and the beauty of it. So, trying to let the Reds not manipulate my happiness for the summer, but you can only do so much.
You're
John,
you're a rational fan, I would say.
I've been, if I'm a rational fan, that's maybe we're getting older and we're growing up a little bit, but I don't know. There's something just listening to different talk shows and reading different articles and other fan theories. And I'm excited for tonight to maybe sound like I'm one of many of just how disappointed of my fandom I am with the Reds and just burnout of trusting them to make me happy.
Even in the win, they had that leadoff double to start the top of the 10th inning. So you get basically a free ghost runner there, and all you need to do is score that. Then you go up by 2, and the Padres can't play small ball to tie it up, and you can't get them in from second with nobody out.
It's and it's frustrating too. It's like they invested so much in this bullpen, and what it was in April, and I feel like we always talk about this, to what it is now, it is just terrifying. Like, I mean, it seems like they were up each game at some point, and you're just like, this isn't going to last. And today, like looking through just obviously the group chat and then following along on this ESPN app, seeing them have a 2-run lead in the eighth, and that still wasn't enough to get with a series win when you kind of needed it. I mean, it's not going to get easier. It's sad that this team's pretty much at the point of mid June saying we just got to get to the All-Star break.
Yeah, I
You're
think
12
John's
and
probably going to hit on.
24. You're 12 and 24 since May 1st with 11 blown bullpen games. You're not gonna ever be a winning baseball team when you have that. You just went on a 6-game road series that you ended 1-5, and all 6 of those games at some point you led. Uh, Really tough stretch. Game 1, you have 3 bunts in a row. You can't field a single one of them. You end up getting the doors blown off you a little bit in the last 3 innings when the bullpen came in, 6-2. Game 2, I will say the one bright spot. Not only did Chase Burns have what some would say his worst outing of the year, but still looks phenomenal with 7 strikeouts. But Brock Burke comes in, gets you out of a huge jam with the bases loaded. You turn that double play, get the win in that game. South Stewart playing hero ball in the 11th. But game 3, for me personally, was just like if there was ever a time to jump off the red ship, I feel like even for the diehards, this was your time. You were looking at a game to have some sort of buyback on this team. You're up 4-2 going into the eighth. All of a sudden, Fergie, a guy in the bullpen you've been able to trust so far, comes in, gives up 2 earned runs, and you turn to a AAA starting pitcher in Chase Petty in the 9th inning, who's never pitched an NF or an MLB 9th inning or a AAA 9th inning in a tied game to get you 3 outs. Just doesn't make sense to me. The dude also flew across the country, either at best last night, at worst this morning when he got called up. So none of it makes sense. Like I said last episode, and I'll probably continue saying, failure on the players, failure on the front office, failure on the managers, failure of an organization right now. Kirby, go for it. I don't know how to use this on my phone for all you viewers as well. So if I look like I'm struggling, it's because I am. I don't know how you raise my hand here, so I'm gonna do a lot of this. If you see me do this, it means I want to talk. I'm pissed. Come with me to find the phone
Good thing
charger.
you're good thing your phone doesn't glitch, so we know when you're raising your hand too. Oh, you're good. You got up. I will say before we turn to our loyal thread heads, Kirby, the Milwaukee Brewers, who have 6 games with the Reds for the rest of the month, are absolutely licking their chops knowing that they're playing this team that can't play small ball. And whatever situation we find ourselves in with the Reds with a lead after the first 5, I am liquidating my 401k. I'm going to DraftKings and I'm putting it on the Brewers money line because there's no shot that this team can hold off against the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, or the Pirates in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be just dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to start here, hopefully here soon. But I think one thing that you guys all said is just a mismanagement. I know I was talking a little bit with John before we started recording. Is the whole like I feel like Tito almost didn't have any moves to make. He didn't have any arms left for an extra inning game.
He doesn't
He
have a
had
pitching coach.
yeah, right. Where's our pitching coach? He had nothing to do, but I think you're right. Petty shouldn't have thrown in a tie ball game, right? Petty should have been throwing in maybe the 6th or 7th inning, make it a stretch, man. If you're going to use him in a lower leverage type situation. Also, I'm going to say one thing. I really like Fergie. I think he's a good pitcher, but dude, you had 2 lefties to throw to. You are a lefty specialist. You get those lefties out. You can't let them you can't let them what just happened. I mean, that was just bad in general. The last thing too is I feel like we made some of these pitchers look a little better than they were. Technically, Giolito pitched fantastic on paper to us because there were errors that occurred in the game, and you can't let a pitcher like Giolito kind of quote unquote carve you up. He really did, and I thought we hit him well. But like, there's a lot of things in this game, and the last thing I'm going to end on is just bullpen. I, I can't watch this. I mean, we don't even have a bullpen. We just have arms. We have people coming out from AAA. We have people that are pitchers, starting pitchers coming into the bullpen because we don't have enough. It's not a bullpen. We don't have a 7, 8, 9 rotation. It's like who's healthy, who's ready, and that's recipe for disaster. You're right, Mark. The Brewers' 6 games that we're going to be playing, it's going to be hard to watch. Like in general, it is going to be extremely difficult to watch. So
Yes, John.
John, go ahead.
Just a quick
Sorry,
update.
Joey.
Just a quick update from the Royals series when we were matching up against the Royals bullpen and we were the 27th ranked bullpen. The Royals the 30th. Since that series, we are now the 30th ranked bullpen. We've officially taken last place.
What are the Royals?
Congratulations.
99?
I didn't even look for the Royals. I only looked for the Reds, and we dropped 3 spots.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to your point also about the pitchers we faced, I saw a lot of Walker Buehler last year with the Red Sox, and they eventually just cut him. Like he's that bad of a pitcher nowadays. And we get 8 hits off of him. It's so much traffic, and we just can't get guys in.
All right, so we got our first caller of the night. So I'm going to go ahead, introduce him, and then we're going to get going. First off, Jerry from Pleasant Ridge. Like always, it's a pleasure. A little different format here. You only got about 10 minutes with us. But Jerry, go ahead and take it away. What question do you have for the thread?
Yeah, I am excited to be on. I think tonight is a great idea, fellas. I'm just fired up to be calling in. First off and foremost, before we get to Reds baseball, I would like to shout out Mr. Joey Schroeder for his wedding this past weekend. For those of you that don't know, his mom, Chrissy, is my second cousin, and so it was a wonderful night there. I saw some of you guys, got to meet some of y'all for the first time in person, but congrats, Joey, on a great marriage. I hope you guys have a happy and wonderful life.
Thanks, Jerry. Glad I was happy to see you there.
It was a lot of fun, Joe. I really appreciate you inviting me. I know I'm long distance relative, but it was nice to be there with all the fam. So congrats again. On
Thank
to
you.
Reds baseball though, fellas. Let's get on to Reds baseball. They just this might be the worst bullpen I've ever seen. And John Cap probably thinks it's a great bullpen, but I don't know about the rest of y'all. Y'all gotta agree with me, right?
Yeah, this bullpen stinks. Plain and simple.
Bullpen's terrible. Bullpen is god awful. We just got done saying, Jerry, they went from 27th to 30th in the MLB.
They're terrible. There ain't a good bullpen arm in that whole bullpen. I'm being serious. What's the guy's name? You guys were making fun of him the other night. What was that guy's name? What's his name? He doesn't even deserve me to say his name. What's his name?
We make fun of a lot of people, Jerry.
Jerry, are you talking about Chris Paddock?
Yeah, that guy. Every time he steps in the game, it's a home run. That guy's terrible.
So
Yeah,
Jerry,
I've been telling everybody for a while that getting a 6.7 ERA guy in is not gonna save the team.
So Jerry, we also Dylan just joined up on the thread. So if you have any questions for him, but I do have one thing for you, Jerry. Now that the season's starting to quote unquote snowball, all right. What is one thing you want to see from the Reds organization this year that will make you at least come back to the Reds? Maybe at the end of the year, maybe next year. What is one thing the Reds organization can do?
Sell at the deadline. Don't even try and buy at the deadline. The season's over. I'm calling it gone. We're done chaining the season. It's done. Put the done chain on because it's a done season. Season's over. So, but sell at the deadline. Get maybe some decent prospects. I don't know, try and build for next year if that's even possible. I don't know if it's even possible. I don't think this general management, I don't think the front office could even build a winning roster if they wanted to. John Cap's going to say, oh, but they had injuries. Last year they went 500 and made the playoffs. That's not a winning roster. That's a some bobbleheads roster. I'm going to come to game. I don't want bobbleheads. I want wins, John Cap. I want wins. Everyone in here wants wins, but John Cap, he just wants bobbleheads.
Jerry, who are you selling
we-
at the deadline? Are you selling Ellie and
Good
like
question. I don't know if I'm ready to sell Ellie yet. I'm not ready for that yet. I think we still got a year or two. If we're gonna ever compete, we're gonna need someone like Ellie to be in our lineup. So you can't sell Ellie. I don't know. You guys are the baseball guys. You tell me. But they got to do something to build a better roster. I mean, they're in no man's land with Brian Hayes. What are they gonna get for him? A bag of potato chips? He's terrible. I mean,
Less. They are getting less than a bag of potato chips.
2 Key Brian Hayes bobbleheads for Key Brian Hayes.
Yeah, I don't know, fellas. Who would you sell? I know I only got a little bit more time left, but who would you sell?
I don't know who other teams want aside from like JJ Bleday or Nathaniel Regino on a quick rental.
teams would be chomping at the bit to take advantage of some of our young pitchers that we have. I mean, we're never going to get rid of Chase Burns, in my opinion. Lodolo might be on the market, and I don't think that teams would hesitate to pick up a guy like him if they're competing. At this point, do the Reds look into Hunter Green? I don't know. I don't think it necessarily makes sense, but he still has a ton of injury issues. If you could offload him, that would be a player that teams are interested in. But honestly, Jerry, there's not enough players at the major league level that I think teams are going to look at and be like, yeah, that's the guy we want, that I'm willing to part ways with. I think you'd agree with me, Jerry. You don't want to get rid of a Sal Stewart, a Chase Burns, Ellie, someone of that ilk.
A Matt McLean, perhaps.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, John. The only guys that aren't on the table right now for Jerry is Ellie, Sal, and Chase Burns. That's about it. I think everyone else should be on the table. You just call around. The
Fair.
hard part is, fellas, when you got bad management up at top, it's hard to believe they could do anything. You know what I mean? You ever seen that movie Draft Day? Hey, DB, is DB on here? Is Dylan on here? My man Dylan?
Dylan's here and he's live.
Jer, I'm here, Jer.
Hey, I mean, Dylan, you've seen Draft Day, right?
I have, yes. Where does it rank in your all-time football movies?
Nick Kroll, he ain't no Kevin Costner in Draft Day, I'll tell you that much. That guy, I mean, he's about worth a bag of potato chips too. Am I right, fellas? We need a new general manager. Kirby, that answers my question actually. You want to get Jerry back? Just get a new front office. Let's start there. I just want someone that's not the Castellini's friend. The best the Reds ever were was when Walt Jocketty was in the front office, and he wasn't friends with the Castellinis. He was there to win ball games. We need someone that's there to win ball games, boys. Who's with me?
Yeah, no, I think we're all with you, Jerry. We're kind of reaching that ending point since we're going to be having other people on. But Jerry, I think you hit it best right there. As a true Reds fan, what change, what difference do you want to make in the organization? It starts at the top. We want things to change. So the GM might be the way to go. But Jerry, we appreciate you like always joining. We appreciate you always putting your input out there. And Jerry, I want to say one thing. Hey, go Reds, man.
Hey, go Reds. Last thing I'll say and I'll get off. If you want to win, if you're the Reds, if you have cheap ownership, you need smart front office work. They don't have that right now. Let's get it, fellas. Have a great night. See you later.
Have a great night, Jerry.
Bye,
Bye,
Jer.
Jerry.
Kirby, are you nervous that you gave Jerry your phone number, your personal line, right? Like a one. He's a part of Joey's life, obviously, but now he's a part of your life.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, seeing him at the wedding, I think our relationship
scared the hell
more-
out of me. I had
it's-
no
yeah,
idea he
it's
was
more
going to be there.
podcast now. It's
Yeah.
more than just podcasts, so I felt comfortable. I'm a little nervous. I might get some invites to maybe some Reds games. Maybe he's bobblehead hunting one day and is asking me to go, so that might be something. But hey, listen, Jerry, friend of the pod, happy to have him on here.
I mean, he's one of the best we got. I mean, we keep going to the well, and Jerry just keeps delivering. He's spitting facts. He keeps it honest, and that's the heart of Cincinnati and the heart of being a Reds fan. I mean, there's nothing better than the people in Pleasant Ridge and them speaking their minds. So thank you, Jer. We appreciate you. Wish we had a better team to support you.
Yeah, one of these days I want the Reds to prove Jerry wrong, but unfortunately, Jerry's in the win column right now.
Toss it on, Joey, toss it on the list of T-shirts we hope to make someday. Jerry was wrong. It may never get made. It'll stay in the draft bin for a very long time.
Yeah.
I think Jerry actually brought up a really good point. Like what are fans looking for a change? I think they're going to be. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to say it. I think they're going to be sellers at the deadline. And like, what comfortable players do you want to let go? I think it's going to be a normal Reds move. I think it's going to be players that we only have team control for a year or two. We know they're kind of quote unquote rentals, and we're hoping they buy high. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if JJ Bleday is not a Red at the end of the season. I'm not surprised if some of our pitchers, even though our bullpen's kind of trash, some teams probably want those pitchers. So I wouldn't be surprised. But Cap, you got something?
Yeah, thank you. Handheld high here. I would love them to reload the farm a little bit. I think I've touched on it a couple times, but just in general, the farm is a little dry. So if we could trade a guy like Nick Lodolo or a starting pitcher, where I do feel like when healthy we can be a little bit depth, especially in AAA. I want some position players in AAA. I want dudes I can look up to that aren't named Alfredo Duno and a select couple others through 3 levels of minor league ball. So, personally, I'm okay with being sellers, especially if we're looking at the bullpen we're going to have for the bulk this year until guys get healthy. We're not going to be better than what we are currently if that's going to be the case. So, start to look at some of those names you can put on big board and don't go after other major league players. Honestly, that's not the way that we should be thinking about it as a small market team. We should try to get farm guys that we can develop. So, offload some of the guys that we maybe won't be able to sign here in a couple of years, but keep some of the core pieces is the way I would run.
Yeah, I just have a tough time when it comes to the starting pitching because we just lived through this problem where our farm system is so thin at pitching that we're going out and getting, bad options to come in and just hoping that they can give us 5 innings and 2 or 3 earned runs at best case. I mean, that just tells me that if you're going to give pitching, you got to get pitching in return.
You get yes and no in the aspect of like, I don't anticipate every year being down a full starting rotation. And outside of Chase Petty at AAA, it definitely gets bleak. You do have a couple arms in AA and single A to look out for. But yeah, like I do agree. If things are as bad as they were this year, you're in a dark spot. But I think that's with most teams. If you lose 5 starting pitchers, I don't know. It also depends on Joey, our guy, BW. Can BW come back next year and be a contributing factor like we thought he was going to be this year? Or are we going to get another season-ending injury?
I guess my one thing about selling, this front office hasn't shown the ability to when they do try to sell, i.e. Luis Castillo and all those guys back in 20, it seems so long ago, and now it's 2026. So like even saying like 2020, 2021, 2022, and the idea was that this is going to be the years that we're supposed to compete at a high level, and the guys that we did trade for haven't panned out. And now you're looking to trade guys that are probably less valuable on the open market than the guys you traded for years ago and bragged about this haul of prospects. And I don't have any faith that who they are going to trade is going to replenish the farm system to the point where we're going to be overjoyed. And their offseason moves of paying guys for the bullpen haven't panned out, and it seems like they're failing on all cylinders. And the goal is probably going to be fire Crawl and hire his replacement within the organization and just rinse and repeat, right? Like this is just a never ending cycle of just mediocrity.
Yeah, I mean, you do have Blid A and Low, which just like there's nothing on their current deals that they can offer you if the season's over.
Yeah.
So that's where whatever you can get in return makes sense. And you have the opportunity to try and sign them again, although I bet their price has gone up for next year than what they Reds got him for.
So I
It's
mean,
just
that's an
hard.
interesting.
It's
That's an
hard to
interesting.
argue that they need to keep him for the rest of the year when
Mhm. So that's an interesting thing you bring up too, like how aggressive our team's going to be with JJ Bleday if it's only a 1-year contract, right? You're only going for like, pennant racing teams like who know that they need a bat corner outfielder. Like, what are they really willing to give up for 3 months of service time? So it's like, am I just giving you a double A pitcher that maybe pans out? Am I going to give you another Chase Petty, which might be worth it? Or am I going to be giving you guys just like a Luis May who might be a filler, might come in as a bullpen guy eventually? So it's a risky move. And Mark, I think you hit on it perfect. I think what we are seeing is the repercussions of the Reds being sellers prior and it not panning out. If you're going to be selling a Luis Castillo, a Sonny Gray, all those players, right? You have to know these are going to hit. And like, don't get me wrong, like Spencer Steer, I think that's a hit. There's other guys. I mean, if the way Marte's swinging it, and if he continues, I think he's a serviceable player in the MLB. But I mean, it's hard to watch when a team's trying to rebuild and it doesn't hit because that's just 4 more years down the toilet, I guess. But yeah, I mean, time will tell, and I do believe I'm in the point now the Reds should look into being sellers.
Yeah, I I don't know. Yeah, we can go next topic, Curb. I think we've hit this one pretty
hit on this one.
solid. So yeah.
So we're just waiting on our next call-in right now. For the next topic, specifically for the Reds, we have a homestand against the Diamondbacks. I know the homestand is looking a little different because the Diamondbacks starting pitching is going to be a little bit on while they're here in Cincinnati. I know it's weekend. I know we got City Connect on Friday, City Connect Saturday, which we haven't been playing well in. What are your guys' kind of thoughts going into this weekend? Is this a must win, or is it we know it's going to happen, we're going to be losing? Actually, hold that thought because our fan thread caller is calling in right now. So again, I'll
You're holding
introduce
us
him.
there?
I know. I'll
What a
introduce him and
cliffhanger.
we'll get going here.
Who do we got?
Phone is ringing off the hook, ladies and gentlemen.
All
Who is
right. Is this Jake from Dayton?
This would be Jake from Dayton, yes.
Hey, Jake, thanks for calling into Off the Thread Reds. We appreciate it. We have our fan thread marathon going on right now. So we got the boys on the other end. What questions do you have for the thread tonight?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I appreciate all y'all for having me on. I appreciate, the effort you guys put into just our team, our organization, and just the willingness to obviously want to push for something. The question I have for y'all is what next? I mean, it feels like more and more that fans are starting to wean away, not watch any more games. And we're only in June. We haven't even reached the All-Star break, and we just had our hottest start since 1990. What is next? What do we do now? How do we go forward from here?
See what Marshmallow's calendar looks like to book him for late August. I'm not too sure what we can do with the on product, but no, we were actually just talking about that a little bit. If we should be sellers, what we should do at the deadline. I guess a lot of it depends on what we're going to do down the stretch here in June and early July. But as far as I'm concerned, as long as the bullpen's not healthy, it really handcuffs you a little bit as to what your options are. Because as we've seen, no lead is safe with this team currently.
So especially after today, that's absolutely sure.
So real quick, I got a question for you. Now, being up in Dayton, obviously coming down to see the Reds might be a haul, might be a little longer than most folks. What is one thing this season that will make you continue coming to the ballpark if you haven't been doing so already?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of dwindling right now. It's as a fan, that's a little bit of a, I guess, question mark if you got to think that more than 5 seconds, I would tell you. But what's keeping me right now is more or less the young talent. Our leading hitters are our youngest guys. Now, granted, Ellie's injured right now, but you have a guy like Sal Stewart who's coming in and making an absolute name for himself right away. And it feels like the guys that have been here a while, aren't doing that. Now they're starting to kick into gear, the more and more we progress. But I would say the young talent. Now, can we keep the young talent? Can we retain it? That's the only question. And right now it's all looking very questionable too. So that I would say that's probably what's keeping me going here to some games. It's just the little hope that we have here in this young talent.
All right, Mark's got a question for you. Mark, go ahead and take it away.
Jake, thanks for calling in and thank you for representing our generation on the radio with Lance. Very proud of your commentary and expressing how we feel as late 20-year-old into our 30s Reds fans. My question to you is what's holding us back from committing to these young guys that are the only bright spot on the team? Like why aren't we signing a Chase Burns or Sal Stewart? Why are we being weird and not engaging in contract negotiations from your standpoint?
You know, Mark, that is one heck of a question there. And I would tell you a lot like a lot of fans. I'm thinking the same thing. It's a question of why. And for the life of me, I don't have a solid answer for you. I don't have a clear answer for you at all. But I would tell you the longer we wait, the less likely we are to retain these talent because again people are going to start to take notice and these names are going to start to increase in value. We're not going to be able to re-sign them like a team like the Dodgers would. So to answer your question, I don't know, and it's getting every single day where you're just questioning what do we do next. And again, I don't know. And I sit here and wonder why aren't they doing some of the moves that they're doing, especially coming into this year where we knew that our depth was, we had talent, but if we hit, the injury bug like we are right now, it would cause some issues. So I felt like we needed to sign some players to where we had some more depth. And again, we're sitting in that same position. So I tell you the answer to that to make a long answer short here, your guess is as good as mine, and I tell you, it's reaching a breaking point for a lot of Reds fans, Mark.
Yeah. All right, we
Yeah,
got one more
it's like they
question.
believe. Can I just
Yeah,
follow
go
up
ahead.
on
Yeah,
that a
yeah,
little bit?
yeah, yeah.
It's like they believe that they're smarter than the rest of the league, and the trend in the league is sign your prospects before they even play in the majors. I mean, the Brewers have done it in the last week with two of their top prospects. Pirates did it with Connor Griffin. The Mariners did it with Colt Emerson, and maybe they did it with one other young guy. Red Sox did it last year with Roman Anthony after like 3 weeks. It's just like that's the trend, and the Reds just won't follow suit.
And it feels like they wait for talent to already be solidified when they do need to just take the risk. And the risk, you look around like these a lot of other teams again. They're making the playoffs. They're consistently winning games, and they're not having these questions in the month of June like we are.
Yeah. All right, we got one more question for you. This is coming from Dylan. So Dylan, go ahead and take it away.
Jake, appreciate your time. I know you're a known ball knower, seam head, if you will. Hard hitting question here. Does ice cream taste better out of the helmets you get at the ballpark?
Wow. That is one hell of a I mean, that is remarkable, Dylan. I appreciate you for asking that. Hands down better in the helmet. I mean, you can pay, $2 less for, just the generic cup, but when you're talking about taste and overall just being able to taste greatness, it's got to be out of that helmet. And it really brings you back to, those days where you're watching Ryan Friel and all those guys out there playing for the Reds. Yeah,
Yep.
100%. Yes.
We love it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Reds memory? We're trying to end these on a little bit of a high note after airing our grievances, but do you have a quick hard hitting favorite Reds memory?
Yeah, I would say my favorite Reds memories probably, I believe it was 2012. It was in the month of July, I believe, and the Reds were playing the Cardinals in a 4-game series, and they were going for the sweep, and they had swept them, had taken full possession of first place, and I remember holding a broom outside of the car window and everyone going crazy, and I'm killing for that moment once again.
Yep.
Would
we
be,
all?
yeah, I was about to say, Jake, hopefully all of us can start feeling that here soon. I think Reds country needs it. And we appreciate you being vocal, not only on this podcast, but out there for all the people that are trying to fight for a winning Cincinnati Reds team. But hey, we appreciate your time. Thanks for calling in. And like always, go Reds.
Absolutely. Go Reds, boys. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Jake.
All right. That was a great one. If you guys don't know, Jake was a caller into the Lance McAllister show. Mark was trying to hit on that and brought up a really good question about, being in your 20s to late 20s to 30s. You haven't seen a winning Reds team before. How much of an impact is it going to have? But I thought there was a really good piece there that was brought up was the whole contract extension. What are you guys' thoughts? I think we missed it. I think we missed the contract extension for Chase Burns. I truly do. And it's only beginning of June. Yeah. Dylan, you had your hand up, but John, I love the hand.
Yeah. Super fast. I just think we continually compete, and I hate pressing the button about being a mid-market team that we can't spend, and that is just not an excuse. We see so many other mid-market teams go on runs, be consistent playoff teams. I mean, most of those are also in our division, so it's it can't be an excuse for us. And so also it's the price of the dollar is only going to go up for these young guys. And so if we're not striking while the iron's hot, we're only going to end up spending more and putting us in a worse position. So I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know if it is this, the new CBA or whatever is going into place here soon. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, I want to start selling some of these guys jerseys, knowing that they're going to be a Red for a while, and it's hard when you have such gravity around some of these young pitchers. Chase Burns, one of my favorite guys on the Reds, and I don't know if I want to buy his jersey because he might not be here next year. And it's how can you commit to those
think
guys, and how
also
can
in
you
the
miss
general theme of
that
what
window?
you just
So,
asked, Kirby,
I don't know.
Jake
John, go
spoke
ahead.
for a lot of our generation, a lot of Reds fans, which is just we have a general consensus of confusion. Why aren't we signing these guys? Why didn't we add enough depth? Why is it the same injury bug every year? All of these questions that we ask ourselves consistently, and like Jake had said on Lance McAllister's show, a lot of Reds fans from our generation, those questions of why are the Reds doing this are turning into why am I spending 3 hours a night watching this team? Why am I investing, like Dylan said, money into jerseys at the sports store there? Why am I going to the game, paying for parking, paying for a hot dog, and after I leave, after the cost of tickets, $100? It's not only just affecting, like, in general, people's fandom, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's things that other teams are doing. Um, it feels like we need to get with the times. It feels like we slowly are getting with the times in some aspects, but falling even further behind in others.
I just think it's crazy. Like you can get ahead of having a salary floor or a salary cap by having a known commitment of X amount of dollars to the guys that you fully believe in. And it's not saying you have to give everyone 8-year 160, but like it's kind of safe to say like Chase Burns is probably gonna just keep moving his way up into a point where it's like a Skeens or hopefully it is to that point where he's a Cy Young winner, but like Pirates fans know, like, they can't sign, like, Skeens anymore. It's like it's kind of a done deal. Like, I think there's some of it's just kind of frustrating. It's like, as a Bengals and a Reds fan, you wait and wait and wait, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, they lost $30 million. They love saving money. They just cost themselves $30 or $30 million because they're being too stubborn to ish out the money up front versus having that controllable 4 or 5 years at a lower rate. So, it's frustrating.
Isn't it sad to know, like, our organization thinks that way, where their return on investment's not worth it? So, like, for
Well, she
example, Paul Skeens was a great one. Like, the Pirates' return on investment, if they were to fork up 200 million or three, I don't know, he would cost an insane amount of money, whatever he costs. Like, the Pirates would never make that back because they know they're not gonna make a World Series. They know they're not gonna go to 2 straight World Series. They know they're not the market of the Dodgers, right? So, like, baseball is always gonna be flawed that way because, like, a player is an investment where I mean, for a small market team, it's not worth it. So they were just like, we'll enjoy Paul Skeens for 4 years. That's literally where they're sitting at. And like, it's sad the Reds are in that boat too. And I don't know. I mean, I could talk on hours about this one, but it's a very frustrating thing that we see in baseball.
Yeah. Is there any gun shy nature from the Joey Votto contract, do we think? Obviously, Joey Votto, all-time Red, first ballot Hall of Famer. Like everyone in the city loves him, but those last couple of years, it was always the question of, did we know we were going to be paying him this much late into his career? But he also won an MVP, so it's like you 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 kind of have to put your money where your mouth is once someone shells out. And I wonder if the Reds are kind of waiting for another breakout guy to go win an award. I hate for that to be the reason why you can't extend somebody. So I don't know. Lovers, any thoughts on that, or is that just me being crazy?
Personally, I don't think that's it. I think it's a change in general management and a change in ownership, really, because Bob was still running the show a little bit when times were good and Votto was getting signed, and now it's young Phil and Nick Kroll, and these two just clearly, I think, are maybe they're more analytical and not and thinking that they don't need to pay this much money to compete and that they can get more total assets by not paying anybody big money. But it's the MLB is proving time and time again
And if
this
that's
past
the
decade
case,
that
if they're really
spending wins.
saying that they're upset about the Votto contract, like if you're upset about the Votto contract, like a guy who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and you're thinking you messed that one up, like the Padres are on the hook for how much for Machado, and he's hitting 160 currently. And I sure as hell guarantee that if they have a chance to go for it, they're going to continue to reload and add people and dump contracts and do things, put them in a position to win. So if that is the case, like that would just be frustrating to hear. I think we all saw Chase Burns pitch a couple of times. We're like, okay, what's his floor? Like a Matt Latos guy, what's his ceiling? A Paul Skeens guy? Like I would happily give him money. Sal Stewart, similar situation. You see the way he plays the game, the fire he brings to an MLB club. I feel like if the Pirates are willing to give Connor Griffin, what was it, 8 for 160, 190, something obscene, we should be able to try and shell out something for Sal, especially if he's publicly asking about it to media. What are we even talking about?
Yeah, I think that was a bad move all parts around when those things came out. We talked about the Geno thing too. Like, I mean, just the disconnect between, players, management, ownership, it's just been insane. All right, we got our third caller tonight calling in. So let me introduce him real quick, and then we will get going. Ryan from Springboro, Ohio. How are you doing today?
How's it going, guys? How we doing?
Doing great, doing great. Just recording another podcast, but we appreciate you calling in. Now, how it's set up is if you have any questions for the thread to start out, we'd love to hear it, and then we'll kind of go off of that one. So, what do you got for us?
So the biggest thing I have is I've got South Stewart on my fantasy team. He's the first baseman, third baseman in fantasy. When I start him, he's striking out. He's in the negatives. He's not doing his job. And when I bench him, game after game, if I bench him, he's scoring big. I need this man to be consistent.
Take it.
What's something that that the Reds need to do to be more consistent?
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Yeah, here we
go. Yeah. Well, I think the question differs between Sal being consistent and then the Reds being consistent. I think this bullpen fluctuation for the Reds team has led us to just never feel safe about a lead, any type of lead, whether it could be 5 or 6 runs or even a 1-run game. So consistency-wise, I think it's just having some comfort knowing that we're going to stay in the game 2-3 innings after the starter goes. For Sal, I think his tape has gotten out there enough where he's mashed a lot of pitchers, especially in the first 2 months of the year. So I think he's chasing a lot more fastballs than what I've originally saw like early in the season, but he's also so athletic and hitting the ball all over the field that he's kind of just coming down to earth maybe a little bit. So I don't know approach-wise what he needs to change. I just think he just needs to keep playing every game that he possibly can. So maybe don't bench him, Brian. Just keep him in the lineup because when he does hit big, he goes crazy and weather the storm a little bit. So I don't know. I think Sal getting reps at DH I think is great. Get him off the field a little bit. But the Reds as a whole, I don't think will ever be consistent this entire rest of the season.
Out for Sal. He had an unbelievable April. At the start of May, I don't think he saw a fastball for 7 games. So now that he started to hit the breaking ball a little bit better, he's seeing a couple more cutters, sinkers, fastball at like pitches. He's sometimes chasing some of those. So I think with time you'll see him be consistent. He's young, 20s. He's only get better from here. So I'm of the similar ilk of I'm keeping him in the lineup. But Ryan, I've got a pretty easy and layup question here for you to start. I assume you've been to Great American Ballpark before. Just wondering where your preferred seat is in Great American Ballpark. Is it outfield, left field, first base, third base? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, and as a baseball fan, as somebody who's almost 30 and has not caught a foul ball at a baseball game, I really go for those behind third base, behind first base. I sat in the outfield on opening day. And I liked the view over there.
Hey, listen, the ball will come to you, Ryan. I promise. You go to enough games, that ball will come to you. All right, Ryan. So we have our pre-show screeners, and I noticed that your 2 teams in the MLB, very similar to Joe, you got an AL and NL team, are the Reds and then the Guardians. Now, I want to bring this question up just because you are a Guardians fan as well. What do you think the Guardians do differently that make them a successful small market team where the Reds are kind of missing it?
Boys, if you look on social media, anybody that talks about the Guardians, you know how we say we win? We win with friendship. Those boys play together like I've never seen before. I mean, there's one of my favorite things that Jose Ramirez does. Obviously, Jose is the best player in the league, in my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. But anyway, back in the first couple of weeks of the season, Tanner Bybee decides to take a pop fly away from Jose, like right off the mound. Jose didn't like it. So now every time that Jose catches a fly ball, pop fly, foul territory, pop up, whatever, throws his hands up in the air like he's cheering like for a ball, points in the dugout, starts cheering. I mean, if you guys notice the home run gear that they wear, they go to the dugout and they put on that night helmet. Some would think that's because we're the Guardians and it's like a Guardian helmet. No, that's because before the season started, the entire team went to medieval times and all had a good time. And Tanner Bybee bought that helmet for them to use as a home run celebration. I mean, they're just vibing. They play on vibes and wins come with it.
Yeah, I kind of like that take of kind of morale because we were talking before you were on here that the Reds are kind of starting to have a disconnect between a lot of different people within the clubhouse. One last question before you head on out is what is your prediction for our Cincinnati Reds at the end of the year? Where do you think they're going to be at?
Oh, at this point, I'm hoping 500. That's. I mean, I have a hard time watching games just with the TV package that I have and always being blacked out. But when I follow,
Ryan,
they
with
go on a
always
run.
being blacked
They
out,
go
what's your
on a
beverage of
negative run.
choice,
I just want
please?
as somebody that pulls for the Reds, like I'm a hometown Guardians fan, but as somebody that pulls for the Reds, I'm just hoping for 500 to be honest. Woo! you know, if it's one of those nights, it can open up a bottle of bourbon. But if it's just chill, a couple bush lattes do the trick.
Guardians fan and being blacked out goes hand in hand.
There it is. There it is. All
I
right.
got one thing before I go. I'm heading down to Great American on Saturday for the Andrew Abbott bobblehead. What's one thing that you guys, you seasoned Reds fans, what's one concession stand, drink, place that I need to, spend some time in?
Well, if you're going in early enough to get a bobblehead, the Garden Bar has $6 beers until first pitch. So you can save yourself some money getting blacked out there versus spending $100 to do the same thing at another bar.
That is actually a pretty big cheat code. Under, if depending on where you get seats, if you get good seats, obviously go to them. My thing is nosebleeds, and then get to the game early enough. Maybe hit the Garden Bar up. If you go in right field, there's kind of standing area. You can't beat it. It's in the shade. If you have kids too, there's the park and right field areas back there as well. But there's all sorts of places in Great American I think are great. Boys, you got anything else before we let Ryan go? All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you calling in. And like always, I know it's dark times. Go Reds, Ryan.
Yes, sir. See you, boys.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks,
I
Ryan.
even looked up payroll.
It
All
sounds
right.
like it's always dark.
Guardians are spending active roster $6 million less. But if you're looking at total payroll, we spend $133 million to their $80 million. And we see where we're at in the standings compared to them. And it's not just them. St. Louis spends $50 million and only $2 million on their active. We're actively spending $66 million more dollars on our active roster than the St. Louis Cardinals to go get swept at Busch Stadium. So, yeah, we are a small market, but of the small market, I think that's an even bigger issue. Like we are spending money, just not well.
Yeah. I'm curious if we need a mojo change when some of these guys come back for, off of injury. Like once we get kind of the standard roster we thought we were going to have going into the season, maybe we get rid of the 6-7 after hits. Maybe we incorporate the money machine back in the dugout. I don't know. We have a 12-pack of cheese conies in the dugout. If you hit a homer, you got to rip a couple of them. Like I need something to change up because we have to bury this first half come All-Star break and start anew somehow, some way. Maybe we bury something in the outfield. I don't know. We do a Vikings goodbye of a jersey on the Ohio River as it floats down past the barge. Like we got to figure out something here to get us some better mojo for the second half.
It was. And you know who else was still on the team, whether he was producing a ton
Mikey
himself,
Biceps.
as Joey Votto. And I think also with the Guardians, I think Jose Ramirez is such a clubhouse guy for them. You see him stealing bases, diving all over the place, really being kind of underpaid at only $25 million a year, always being arguably the best third baseman in the game.
Yeah.
You need
I
a
do
leader.
think, Mark, I think to your point too, Mark, the Biceps era between Lorenzen, Derek Dietrich, and Puig, that was also an epic era of.
They were bad, but they were fun. Right? They were bad.
The most exciting, 90-loss team in baseball. It was incredible.
We were distracted by all the jerseys, and we were fine with it. We were like, it's cool. They're wearing the 1930s cutoffs, and they're ripping bicep curls and getting fights with the Pirates. Like it's cool. And then little did we were like, well, they're not going to win.
All right, hear me out. I got a question about that season. Say they were a good team. and we made the playoffs, would you let one of those jerseys rip in the playoffs, like the 1990s jersey? Like, would you let that go as an organization, or would you be like, no, we gotta
They
go?
wouldn't. They wouldn't. But as a fan, yeah, absolutely, I
Okay.
would love that.
Yeah, MLB wouldn't allow it, but yeah, that would be so sick. Like the ones with the short bills, the full pinstripe ones, the candy cane ones, those were sweet. I think we lost by like 11 runs the game that we wore them, but we looked awesome out there.
That team started 1-8. Why were we so into that team?
It's the jerseys.
They started 1-8.
The biceps, Joey. We like the biceps.
We were fighting the Pirates, but we opened the season. We beat them on opening day. Then we got swept by Milwaukee and got swept in a 4-game series in Pittsburgh.
So good.
All right, while we wait on our next caller here, we should be calling in here in any minute. Let's go ahead and throw back to the question that I had. So we got the D-back series this weekend. What are you guys' kind of thoughts on this one going in? Must-win series, obviously, kind of, or is it one of these series that are going to get away from us from a team we should compete with?
It's hard to call anything a must-win series when you've already, you're halfway underwater at this point. But yeah, we're getting two pitchers who are performing really well, and Soroka strikes out a lot of guys, and then Eduardo Rodriguez is having quite a resurgence this year. But you're coming home after a really rough road trip, and you just gotta find a way to flip the switch. You definitely got to win that Sunday game, Abbott versus Gallen, because Abbott is the better pitcher nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a vibe check a little bit. I don't know. I think homestands can be a coin flip if we can actually perform and have people come out to the stadium. So I think we need a good crowd, which is it's a lot to ask at the moment. I think we'll see a little offensive kick though coming back home. I do. That's my non-analytics backed response, but I do think getting us back in our home park could help a little bit on offense.
What do we think it's going to be like on Friday? Yeah. What do we think attendance is going to be like on Friday with Team USA playing their first World Cup game?
Hey, I hope attendance. I hope attendance is unreal. It's Madeira night at Great American Ballpark, baby.
Really?
Yeah.
Breaking news.
I hope it's
breaking
popping.
news. Yeah.
So you're throwing the first pitch?
Maybe. No, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out.
Go to the game to see if
get a
see
ticket.
if that's true.
They're Castellini's. Gotcha. I got your back. No, it's Madeira night, man, against the Diamondbacks. We'll see. Fireworks Friday. It's gonna be a good atmosphere. It'll be fun. All right. Well, we are still waiting on this call-in. Now, kind of setting the rest of the season up. Let's kind of stop our thought post All-Star break. What do the Reds need to accomplish before All-Star break hits? And I'm not talking about win every game. What do they need to accomplish as an organization to make sure we at least can be competitive to potentially get that wild card spot at the end of the year? What do they have to do before All-Star break?
I mean, get healthy is a cop-out answer. Like that's like the one thing that's our last remaining card in the pocket is if we're healthy at some point, can we go on a run? So if we can't do that, then I think it's completely lost. I don't know if our coaching staff is like up to beat as well. I know Brian Johnson had to step away for something too, so I don't know what that's all about. So maybe a combination of those, just like bullpen for me too. It's like it's a coin flip of who's coming out of there at certain times for certain games. And it's just like, I don't think we have someone to go to in those high leverage spots at the moment. So, yeah.
Ourselves by having a different ninth inning guy every day, not the same setup guy, just picking and choosing what we're going to do each day. And some of that, yes, you have to do, but like why do we have Chase Petty pitching in the ninth day instead of in the sixth inning, and Ferguson's pitching in the seventh, and he's been pitching in the eighth and ninth, and Brock Burke, you're nowhere to be found today. You only pitched yesterday. So I think for me, I would like to see some semblance of an idea of how this bullpen can work and how we're going to use certain guys instead of you can see Santion whenever, you can see Brock Burke whenever. I would like to know if we're in a tight game in the eighth and ninth inning and these guys haven't pitched, you can guarantee that these are the people you're going to see. I have no idea.
Yeah, why has it not been Antone recently? I know he's been like pitching in some of these later innings, but like he's been, one of our best guys we got. I mean, this was one of the worst series for Big Tone. I know we've talked a lot about Big Tone, but rough spot for him in a couple of goes. So I don't know. It's carousel.
Past the seventh inning, I don't think I need to see him in the game, especially in a tied game. I know today he got 2 outs and like I have an eighth inning and whatnot, but there was no one on base, what have you. I think Brock Burke's probably been your most solid and steadfast arm you've had, so maybe put him into some of the more high leverage situations. TJ Antone, I agree. Seems like he at least doesn't get affected by the big moment. He continues to pump strikes, which I'd much rather see a guy who's throwing strikes and competitive at bats than someone who's going to walk somebody late game. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Until you're fully healthy, it's very tough because you're maneuvering with a lot of players. But hope makes.
All right, I'm gonna interrupt real quick. We got our next caller. This caller is George from Mason, Ohio. So let's see. George, is this you? All right. Hey, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it. I know a little late night, maybe getting off work, different things like that. But welcome to Off the Threads podcast. So to start things off, do you have a question for the thread about our Cincinnati Reds?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's go ahead and hear it.
Okay. So what can the Reds do for the next 2 weeks to keep them in shape for playoff berth until they get Pagan and Cruz back?
They
All right,
can
boys.
find a way to score 5+ runs every game and have their starting pitcher give up 1 or less. So that way the bullpen has 3 runs of insurance by the time they have to take the ball.
I think continue to ride this wave of being aggressive on the base pass too. I think we've been stealing a ton the last 2 series, which I've liked to see. But yeah, score. Yeah, I mean, score as many runs as possible. Play small ball if we need to. There's not a lot else we can do at the moment, unfortunately.
You're muted.
I got you guys. All right, there you go.
So I have an answer to my question.
All right. Let's go ahead. Let's hear it.
Okay. So the Reds, what they need to do is their pitching, and especially their bullpen, need to throw strikes on the first pitch. They need to attack the batters. What's killing them right now are walks. This season is a walk nightmare. And what they're doing is they're pitching around players instead of attacking them, especially on the first pitch. Get a strike. You look at the better ball players, the better pitchers, they attack the first pitch. The first pitch, they're throwing a strike and they're attacking the batters.
John's got a response here for you.
On having a little conversation that I'd like to clue you in on. With that being front of mind, having to throw strikes and being so abysmal in late game situations as of late, what pitchers would you like to see in the eighth and ninth inning that have been throwing strikes maybe lately that you want to see get those high leverage situation moments?
No, I don't think it's. I don't. Are you talking to me?
Yeah. So like what pitchers specifically?
So I don't care what pitcher they is. Every pitcher needs to go into for a different situation. The problem is the pitch calling. Who's making the pitch calls? Attack the batters. In other words, if they hit a home run, they hit a home run. But if they walk, you're just adding up more runs to go into that. You've got to attack.
Yeah, I think I think that's a good point you bring up. Like, who is calling pitches? Is it Steve-O or is it the coaching staff? Like, who's actually calling pitches? Because you're right, there has been a couple games where it's like, what are they doing? Like, why are they throwing this pitch in this situation? Why are they leaving it this location? But all right, guys, any final questions? Mark, it looks like you got one for him.
Well, can I actually just add some validity to George's comments? So I'm looking up right now MLB team pitching stats. The Reds are 28th in walks, meaning only 2 ball clubs walk more batters. And the Reds are 28 in home runs allowed, meaning only 2 other teams allow more home runs. So both they aren't pitching to guys first and they're putting them on base, and then they are grooving one and giving up a multi-run homer.
And the other thing that you should, that's a good point. The other thing that you should look at is how many walks are coming, our runs are coming off of these walks.
Yeah.
Are the walks the killer?
Yeah.
They're adding to 2, 3-run innings, 4-run innings, 5-run innings, when a home run is 1 home run.
Yeah, that's
In other words, the batter's got to really groove it to hit a home.
yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting, like, Joey, that's crazy you brought the statistics up that align, like, perfect with the whole idea of, like, yeah, we're losing because we're walking, and then we're giving up a big hit because we're forced in that situation. Mark, you got a question for him?
I guess not a question, but more just an addition to George's statement. George, thanks for calling in. But my comment was more in line with when the ball is put in play because they are attacking the batters. It seems like the Reds are doing a poor job of giving free opportunities to the team by making mistakes in the field and letting the inning persist. I think there's also a twofold to this as well. As you got to help the pitching out by playing clean defense too. So that was just my little additive to the conversation.
So a response to that is they're in the top third in error percentage. In other words, fielding percentage. They do a good job at.
George, do you have enough free time to join the Reds staff after hearing this analytical breakdown? If you have some freelance ability to send some emails
Yeah.
their way and let them know some changes, because I think you might have cracked the code with the walks here, man. That is great digging, great information.
Well, first of all, they couldn't pay me enough, and I'm retired.
All right, well, hey.
They're going to offer you more money.
That is true. The Dodgers would offer. Yep, the Dodgers would offer more money. All right, well,
Tito's a great coach. I have a lot of confidence in Tito. I think injuries have hurt a lot, and then I think the walks are hurting them. And I think what they need to do is focus on attacking the batters. And if they can do that, let your defense help you.
yeah.
Let your fielders help you.
Yeah.
Not walk the guys because you're afraid that they're going to hit the ball too hard.
Yeah. Well, hey, spoken like a true coach. Really impressive, the stats you brought up. We appreciate it. And, George, thanks for calling in. And thanks for your time. And
it's not George. It's not George. It's
Papa George. Papa George, we appreciate you calling in. Hey, that means if you want to call in, you just let us know. You just let us know, Papa George. We appreciate it.
I'm teasing you. You guys are doing a great job.
Oh, appreciate that. Well, hey, Papa George, thanks for calling in. And hey, like always, go Reds.
I'm in that Royals series that came off of
Thanks,
one
Papa
hit.
George.
But how many situations of that do we have? Many versions where it's like you have 1 walk middle of the inning, next batter hits a home run, or you have 2 walks, someone hits a single, 1 run scores. So yeah, I mean, we've all talked about the pitching, and how it hasn't performed. But I think we need to definitely narrow in a little more. Is it specifically the walks that are killing us?
Yeah. If you saw my hands, I was holding a blank check because I don't know if the Reds can afford Papa George, but maybe we can if we scrape together the rest of our budget. Him as an added call-in, just consistent, on duty would be unbelievable. So shout out Papa George. I don't know. I feel like just our overall strikeouts across the board have been down. I wonder how much HG being out also contributes to that. He was always our strikeout leader, touching double digits almost every time he takes the ball. So yeah, just kind of bad all around, to be honest.
Yeah, I love it how
George was right about
the
the
guy probably has been watching.
defense too. Though. Oh, sorry, I
Yeah.
glitched. I didn't realize you were talking.
No, you're good. You're good. You said he was right about the defense. Like it's
So I'm looking
insane.
out above average. The Reds are 10th. So
Yeah.
the
Yep.
defense is there. He knows his stats too.
But yeah, a guy that's been watching the Reds his whole life, he's probably seen this song and dance too many times. The nice thing is, though, a guy who has seen a lot of the Reds, like him knowing Tito and has confidence in him, that does, bring you something. There's some positive there. If there's any manager in the MLB right now that can change the direction of a team, it's going to be him. I truly believe that he is working with just a bunch of misfit toys at this point. No offense to the pitchers and bullpen pitchers out there, but like they're not supposed to be in the scenarios there, and we saw that today with Chase Petty. But as we are waiting for our last call in, let's go ahead dive a little deeper. D-back series, Joe, you kind of hit on it. They have 2 starting pitchers we're going to be facing Friday and Saturday, which are actually on the up and up, and they're having pretty good seasons. Hitting wise, I feel like we're a streaky team. The nice thing is we actually hit decently well in this Padres series. What's one thing we want to see kind of continue as we go? And I want to say big shout out. I think Gino's back, boys. I think Suarez
9
is
hits
back
in
and he's
game
starting
one,
to
like
swing.
you said, Joey, and only 2 runs. That can't be your conversion rate ever. Was one of my talking points that I didn't bring up. But in general, I feel like our bats have done well, and Kirby, this is something you've touched on multiple times this year. But when we get in those runner and scoring position, we don't always convert. And a lot of times when we do convert, it's on a big fly, which isn't terrible, but you don't want to make that your whole embodiment. As we hit home runs, and that's how we get our runs in, especially when your team, when you look at it, isn't a power hitting team necessarily. Suarez is on his way back. I think that Suarez in the 6 hole is not the worst look, especially when Steer's really stroking the ball right now. So I think Suarez still, for the time being, keeping the 6 hole. If he continues to hit well, then kind of working back down at a traditional 4 or 5 spot. But for right now, I think it's Steer's spot, and it's his to lose.
All right. Last kind of filler question that we got. Actually, just kidding. We got our next caller here. We got. I'll go ahead and introduce him as we go through here. So, Joe from Mason, we appreciate you calling. Off the Thread Reds today. We are doing our fan thread marathon kind of calling. What question do you have for the thread?
Hey guys, how's it going? It's good to I'm a big fan. I wish I could call in more often, but it's good to finally get to talk to you guys about my red legs. My question of the night for you guys is just it's been kind of a topic of conversation over the last few weeks. Reds, do we want them to be buyers? Do we want them to be sellers at the deadline? And if we're going to be sellers, which I'm hoping you guys are going to jump on board with that, who should we be selling? That's my big question for you guys tonight.
I think from a fan standpoint, we really got to be cheering for JJ Bleday to keep that OPS over 900. And then hopefully we can sell in high.
Yeah, I definitely like that, Joe. I like that.
I'm gonna stir the pot. All right, I'm gonna throw this out here, Joe. You might not agree with it. I think we trade Ellie. I think if our team's gonna stink and we have a projection of continuously going in this path this season and next season, I think why not? Why not get 4 prospects? If we're gonna go in sell mode at this point, let's not be mediocre. Let's sell the team. And this might be something that a lot of fans don't want to hear. This might be something that ownership is never going to think of because they're going to lose money. But if you're going to sell a team, hell, you got South Stewart. You have, great, quote unquote, great arms in control still. Why not go out and get some players that might change it? But I will say this. If this was a year from now, sell Ellie. If it's current, you still have team control. It's kind of a tough situation. But again, I'm in the boat. Sell whoever you can. See what you can get.
I think
my big thing is just basically, I think where I go back to time and time again is if you're going to sell, let's sell to go all in, though. So I think you make a good point there. Obviously, I don't want to lose Ellie. I like Ellie. He's going to be a Dodger or a Yankee in a few years anyway. But Like, I would love to see him play winning baseball with the Reds. But if we don't think it's a reality, if front office doesn't think it's a reality, I would love for them to sell. And if they're going to sell, I guess you're right, maybe, Kirby. Maybe we sell high. But if we're going to sell high, we need to at least sell high with the purpose of winning. Like, the purpose has to be to get the right price.
Oh, I just hung up on Joe from Mason, but we got our next caller here.
no.
Get
We
him
got
out of here.
We got to
We-
finish these thoughts, Kirby. We
Yeah,
got to.
yeah. I was
leave.
yeah.
can't just
That's,
leave.
Hey,
Don't say my last
hey,
name.
hey, Tom. No, you're good, Thomas. I'm gonna call you back. I accidentally just hung up on our last caller. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, man. Thank you.
don't tell him who you hung up on. Then he's gonna be really
I feel like
insulted.
you answered yourself in the middle of your description, Kirby, when you said, "Why not sell Ellie? Because it'll cost money. They will have the Jakes from Dayton, and all of us who are already on the fence will stop showing up to games."
That is a good point. That is a
It would be irreparable damage if they sold Ellie. Like literally, I would. Yeah.
that is a fantastic
He's
point.
literally
Like
the
if you
only selling point to like younger fans. Like my 4-year-old nieces know one player, and it's Ellie. That's like it's literally they're so excited. Ellie. Like
My 29-year-old wife knows one player, and it's
Ellie.
All right, Joe. Sorry about that. We didn't mean to get disconnected there. That's user error. But let's go ahead and kind of go back on discussion. Joey, you brought up a really good point. Like if you were to sell Ellie, and again, I think this was more me going into an extreme side. I was just getting to the point where if you're going to sell, go all in and sell. But like if you were to sell Ellie, that would take away a lot of fandom for a lot of Cincinnati fans. So that's not going to happen.
I think that's fair. My big point going off of that though is, I know you guys know Jake Sewell, and he called in the 700 a few weeks ago and made a good point to Lance. Like you're losing so much of your younger fan base already, right? Like at some point, like you continue to miss out and lose out on what could be should be a really strong fan base in a baseball city, let's be honest, but it hasn't been that way in a while, and part of that is they're not winning. And so like I don't know, like at some point they have to take some sort of risk to try and win. I just that's my biggest problem is just I wish that they would do something, take a swing, take a risk, pay someone more than they should. Trade for someone and trade someone away they shouldn't. I don't know. I just do something to try and win. I know they've tried things in the past, it hasn't worked. Eventually something's gotta work, something's gotta give. But your fan base is desperate for winning baseball. Not winning baseball from like a 500 record standpoint. Like winning baseball, like let's try and win the Central. I don't think fans are asking much of the organization. I don't even think we're asking for World Series. I think most people, at least if you're like me, you're just asking for them just to try and stay relevant in any way possible. So I don't know if that makes sense or that hits the point to you guys. I'm sure you guys agree with me in some way, some form.
Yeah. We'll have Mark go ahead and ask this last question, then we'll kind of wrap up this conversation. Mark, go ahead. What do you got?
Not a question, but just kind of filling you in here, Joe. Joe, it's Mark, if you can't hear me. But we had Kirby do a little detective work. We did get Jake on, and he did just talk to us a few callers before you. So I'm glad that you brought him up. Excited for you to listen in on that conversation. That's the first thing. One thing that I want to add to the conversation is agreeing to your point of if you're going to do something, go all in. If you're going to go in on selling, go all in and do it right, and do it right this time versus this half measure actions. Like signing a Candelario is a scared move. Trading for Ke'Bryan Hayes is a scared move. Lowballing Kyle Schwarber is a scared move. Like go do something bold, and if you go bold and it doesn't work out, the fan base isn't gonna just I think you get more equity going down with some sort of crazy move versus these half measures. And I think trading Alley isn't necessarily the thing that's going to, revitalize this fan base. I think he's probably the one thing that you have to hold on to and give him a large contract just to make everyone happy.
I think you hit the go ahead.
My last one is for who we would sell that I think could be like someone who's like very like Todd Frazier-esque, like maybe his best days are kind of behind him, but he might be able to get you some value. Andrew Abbott's kind of the person that came to my mind, like a decent pitcher, someone who might be able to eat innings and deliver a win here and there. He's not going to be your number 1 or 2, but he's going to be a damn good 3 for most teams. So that's the end of my rant, Joe. Let me hear what your thoughts are.
I think you hit the nail on the head with every single point. I agree with you totally. My big thing is, like you said, let's just go all in. Like, if we're gonna go all in on something, go all in on something. Like, don't do it half, because I think in the past months we've traded away a piece or two, gotten a few decent pieces. I'm not saying they haven't had some good trades here or there, but oftentimes what happens is, if just one guy, 2 guys work out on one of those trades, I don't know if that completely makes you a better ball club. If we're gonna do something and sell, let's either sell and do something for real and try and create some momentum with real prospects and real players that are going to be able to build a roster. Or, like, I don't know, like I just don't want to sit. I think for me, sitting in the mediocre standpoint is not a good place to be. Like, I think a lot of us wanted them to take the jump this year, right? Like, I didn't think last year was like a failure of a season just because they went 500, but I felt like this year was the year where they needed to take a jump. I've watched your guys' show enough to know that Cap thinks that injuries are a big part of it, and I actually think Cap has some good points on why the injuries are definitely a part of this. But at the same time, I think a lot of teams deal with it. I think that you have to have enough depth. You got to spend enough money to have the depth to be able to make it out of those times where you have those injuries, if that makes sense. And so I just don't think they do enough as an organization to get us to a place where we can stay invested for a full season. That's what's hard for me. I know you guys are huge baseball fans. I'm more of a, I love basketball. I love football. Like, I can stay invested even when the Bengals are. I just, with baseball, for me, I think a lot of fans probably feel this way. When you're bad, it's hard for me to stay invested, if that makes sense. And so, like, I want them to win because I want to be invested. But in these summer months, I got so much other stuff I can be doing on my nights. I can go play, pickleball. I can go get ice cream. I can do a million different things. If I'm going to be invested in front of my TV, I need you to at least show me that you care enough to try and win, if that makes sense. That's kind of where my heart's at, fellas. So I appreciate you guys having me on. Hopefully I'm making sense.
No,
No,
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, that makes
Can't
perfect.
disagree with anything you just said.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for calling on and listening, brother. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Hey, don't be a stranger to the show. Call on in whenever you can.
I would love to. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
John, I feel like you've been attacked by now Joe and first off, Jerry. Is there something that, like, the thread heads are like, what is it, because you are not afraid of making the takes, or what's going on in that beautiful mind of yours?
On them as well. I think my only point
Like-
is, with the injuries, the fan base just turning to, like, you have to have depth and not acknowledging that, like, if this team even stayed relatively healthy, if we just had, like, Hunter Green and Lodolo be the only ones that got injured, and not Will and Rhett Lauder and others, that this team could have had a chance at being good. Now, when I say good, I think we all heard our predictions. It was like 87 wins, we all said. So a couple games over that 500 mark. And personally, I thought this was going to be that year, and I was dead wrong, and injuries killed us. But I think that's where Jerry and Joe might have a little bit of frustration, is they're really resentful towards front office, as a lot of fans are, and they don't want to hear the injury excuse, and I get it. But I'm just a realist. I think this team had potential. I think injuries derailed it. I think now they're just kind of screwed with what they got. I don't know if there's any comeback from it, to be honest. It feels like the bullpen was the issue for sure, and I feel so stupid having looked back. When we looked at the bullpen, we all were like, they made changes. They got Ferguson, they got Pierce Johnson, they got Brock Burke. These are guys who are going to bolster this bullpen. And then in saying that, then Pagan, who was supposed to be a decent closer, he turned out to not be well until his injury. Santiana has fallen off a cliff. Like, things happen. It's baseball. Guys have regressed strongly in the bullpen, but if you look at the bullpen before the year, the changes we made, we were kind of like, all right, maybe they'll be able to perform, keep it together. But no, I get that point too. Bullpens look terrible.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And
I was going to say, we got our next caller here coming in. So the little mix up before they did call in. Oh, the other one. All right. So, hey, we got Thomas all the way from Dallas, ladies and gentlemen, calling in about the Reds. So, Thomas, first off, we appreciate you calling in. Do you have a initial first question for the thread?
Yeah, can we fire our training staff? The whole thing? Like I haven't ran the numbers yet, but the amount of blisters this team is getting is a little concerning.
I have a question for
Agreed.
Tom. Who's if you had to fire one person immediately, is it the training staff or is it Nick Kroll? Is it Terry? Is it the non-existent pitching coach? Who's your one-time fire pass?
You didn't need to say that
Who
again.
is the
Hey,
one
Tom.
time fire that you would do initially just for the whole injury bug? Who'd be the one person you'd fire?
Not even related to the injury bug, just in general. Just who do you want out?
Just in general, I mean, it's. I mean, can we fire the ownership? Can we fire Castellani?
I'll
Pre.
accept it.
That would be my first.
Start at the top.
I was going to start with Crawl, but I mean, if you could do
Yeah.
Castellini,
Feel
that's
bigger.
even better.
I think it starts at the top. Starts at the top. You can't blame Tito. I think Tito's doing the best with what he's got. Derek Johnson's a load of nuts, man. That guy stinks. But it's
Tom,
tough, man. It's really tough.
Tom. So I know you're a ball knower across multiple sports, but I know baseball's in your true heart of hearts here. So what has grinded your gears the most about this team, and what do you think that this team could do to even somehow salvage this season?
I think what really gets me going is the young talent we have, and the inability to leverage that talent to turn into a competitive baseball team, right? Because you think, go back to Jonathan India, wins the Rookie of the Year, right? Am I crazy for saying that? And then we got
No, you did.
McLean, we got Ellie, and now we got Sal Stewart, and we're not even engaging in contract discussions with Sal Stewart, and we can't afford Ellie. And it feels like we are a stepping stone. We're almost a minor league team.
Yeah, and I feel you on that 100%. Like, I feel like we've been a feeder to large market teams for a long time now, and we can't retain talent. And hopefully, the meetings this upcoming winter kind of change that. But we were just talking previously about like how can't we retain guys? Like, why aren't we offering them early enough? So I have a question for you. If there was one young guy on the team right now, you only could offer one long-term extension to, who'd it be?
I mean, it's Ellie De La Cruz. I don't think there's another answer to that.
Okay.
I mean, you could say Sal Stewart, but I mean, I think the priority has to be Ellie.
Are you factoring in price?
So, I mean, if you factor in price,
And I don't mean Brian Price.
Sal.
Okay. So Sal? Yeah.
That's my thought too.
No love for Chase Burns.
Yeah, Thread. What are your guys' thoughts here? Who'd be the guy? Let's take away Ellie. Who would be the guy currently you would have to extend right now?
Well, here's my argument against it. We got a perfect deal with Hunter Green, and we're still right here. I mean, we absolute steal, and it's not gotten us over the hump. It's great last year.
Tom, say that one more time. What'd you say?
Is it really a steal for Hunter Green if he can't stay healthy?
I mean, absolutely. He's still pitching ain't hurt. He's pitching over what he's getting paid.
Yeah, and I think our best years are still yet to come with HG. I mean, like, no one can, factor in the calculations that someone's going to get injured for as much as he has. Sure, has he made a glass maybe at times, but I think his best years are still yet to come. In my true opinion,
his last two seasons, he was a combined.
That's one of the first
10.2
names I'm taking off the board is Hunter Green.
Yeah,
if you're going to be complete toes, even with the contract that he has, just because I think you could get a haul for Hunter Green of prospects.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. I'm just saying that's my argument against
if it was
being the main priority to sell.
I just don't know like what their plan would be, like what your foundation is if you're not committing to any of these younger guys from a contract standpoint. And it seems like if they were letting people know of their plans, players wouldn't be having post-game interviews where it's like, I'm committed to the Reds, but they're not committed to me, and making it weird. Like if they were like,
I mean, both, maybe not. I mean, I do think Sal Stewart's I think he's got a lot to prove still. I think he's off to a great start. But I don't think you sign a guy a contract after, 6 good months.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I think, I think Sal Stewart in the air. I think Chase Burns has shown enough.
Mhm.
I think he has a big enough body of work to where you sign him. But
No,
yeah, I mean, Sal Stewart, maybe you can make the argument he's still got some things to prove. Just because, like, I mean, he's not. He's an average defender. He's not going to win you games on defense at first base. And you got to rely on his hitting, and he's been slumping a little bit as we get to the midpoint of the season. So
yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, if you were a normal ball club, I think Chase Burns would already be under contract, and I think Sal Stewart's a maybe, because you might have one of those teams that might be eager and did it, the first 2 weeks, like what Detroit did. But all right, one last question for you before you head on out here. So, being from living currently in Dallas, what is one thing that you love the most about going to a Reds game? Bring it back, a little nostalgia living in Cincinnati. What's one thing about the Reds stadium that you love the most?
man, it's Skyline Chili. It's not. It's not even close. It's not even a debate. I don't know, man. I grew up in the Ken Griffey years. Going to watch him. Me and my neighbor, my neighbor's mom would pull us out of school to go try and catch his, what was it, like his 500th home run or whatever. So I mean, no, like, I feel like we got a little bit of a taste of the good life there when we were young, and I love baseball, man. Like, I was never good at baseball, admittedly, but baseball is my passion. It's the sport I like to follow along with the most, and it's just, there's no such there's no such thing as a bad day at the ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
If you're there, it's a good day, even if the Reds are, getting piped by the Cardinals in 3 games cheap. But
All right. Well, hey, Tom, we appreciate you calling in. It's a tough time for a Reds fan. We just wanted to hear it out from everybody. But hey, like always, go Reds, man.
Hey, man, keep it up, guys. I love the content. I am I like to call myself a TFS commenter. I think you guys are doing great. I love what you guys are doing. I love following along. Most of you guys are longtime friends at this point, so keep it up. Love what you guys are doing.
Thanks,
Hey,
Tom. We
Yeah,
love
thanks,
you.
Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
we appreciate it, Tom. Take it easy, man.
All right, see you guys.
All right, ladies and
Not to
gentlemen.
age him, but Ken Griffey era. We're really getting up there, fellas.
I remember
Yeah.
going away for that 500th home run. I think I went
Yeah.
to back games. I don't know. I don't think I saw it because didn't he hit it on the road then?
Is it at St. Louis?
That was 600.
That was 6. Yeah. Was 5 also on the road?
I thought
thought
5
that
was at St.
they
Louis.
had a home stand and a lot of people went hoping for it, and I thought it came later, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Busch Stadium. So
Wasn't
Yeah.
it like Father's Day or something? Or
Oh.
am I making that up? Because his dad was in attendance, or maybe that was another huge mile. I don't know.
Yeah, one of his many.
oh,
Was
I'm
it really?
positive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mark,
go.
great poll.
Let's go.
Great poll.
I don't even have it up.
Yeah. That's why you run our analytics department here. Appreciate it.
We need more funds. I'll tell you that much.
I do want to highlight
Yeah.
something Mark said earlier with Andrew Abbott as a trade deadline piece. That didn't come up the first time we went through.
Oh,
I think that's
yeah.
a great guy to throw in there because he's a not young really, but he's a controllable arm for another team. But you can maybe get a return for him now, and he's the kind of guy that I feel like you can bring in free agency without breaking the bank to fill in the same role he holds.
Yeah.
And you can replicate it more to an extent. Like you're not like saying bye to a generational like talent or like I know he's well liked amongst the fans, but like I think he's somewhat of a like safe bet. If you were to trade, people would be bummed, but not like to a point where you're cursing the Reds even more than they are today. just a thought. And
Yeah.
I'm sure someone would be willing to have a nice left-handed pitcher in the starting rotation.
He's very
Yeah.
similar about like in my bucket of pitchers for the Reds as like a Sonny Gray, like well loved, very consistent.
I
Like
think Gray's
I
a
feel like
lot
you can get him
better.
out there. Like overall, really?
Yeah,
I mean, I think
he's
over
a
the
lot
course
better.
of Sonny's career, he's done great in every spot he's pitched in. So I do want to give him credit there for that. But I mean, Eben hasn't had any like, huge major slumps, I guess.
You
but
can dangle the all-star carrot over the last 2 years too. Like you can maybe try to use that to beef up the package of return
Yeah.
on maybe a bidding war. I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of teams that are going to be looking for starting pitching, and if you're one of the few sellers that has someone that someone might be interested in, it's interesting. That's all.
for sure.
It looks way better on paper than when you dig into like his actual stuff. Plus, you would think that he'd be getting drilled. So, I love Abbott just as much as the next guy. But yeah, if we were gonna sell, that is not a terrible name to be tossing around, especially for the haul that I think you could get.
Right, and that's where
Yeah,
I think that
just
Sonny is
to kind of
better
summarize
than him, and
the
his swing and miss stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just to, like, summarize everybody's thoughts, it was very interesting to hear from, like, the different fans and their approach to everything, like, what we could do to change, what we could do. But I think it just all comes down to, like, well, it's a microcosm of the decisions we've made in the past to get to where we are now, and it's very frustrating being a mediocre baseball team. I mean, we're just a 500 team trying to figure it out, but, I think I love, trading Abbott, trading Bleday. If we're gonna sell, but I mean, you can't say sell smart. So sell what has the best return at this point, because selling is going to impact your team regardless. So yeah, John, go ahead.
Jerry did, Joe did, Ryan
Mhm.
did. Um, yeah, Papa George, like a lot of people had that question. We had to go around and try and answer it different ways. I think 4 or 5 different times. If that doesn't
Mhm.
tell you where the majority of Reds
Papa
fans'
George,
brains are at right
too.
now, I don't know what else does.
And I hate that more times than not we get to this part of the season already and we have to answer that question. Like, and more times than not we're saying we're going to be sellers. Like, we've never been in the bucket where we're definitively in the buying category, and it's very sad.
Yep.
Hang the
That
banner.
month
The
of
Reds
May, that
started
month of May just
2026,
always
20 and
kills
11.
me.
That 20-11 start go down in history.
It was sick. It
Now
was
look at
sick while it
us.
lasted. I will say it was awesome.
They
You know
offered
what?
Kyle
Yeah.
Schwarber's the first one. The second one is hottest team to end the month of April.
You know what it
Best
was?
start. Yeah, best start since 1990.
You know what it was? It was that trip to Pittsburgh, guys. It got us. That trip to Pittsburgh. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate everybody sticking through this longer episode. If we continue this, we'd love to do more fan thread cons. It's really enjoyable for all of us. Also, be on the lookout on our social media and our episodes. We're going to be doing a live episode in the coming weeks here in the summertime. So again, make sure you guys are checking us out on that. Please be checking out our social media at OT Thread Reds. We have our Instagram, which is going great, YouTube page as well. And like always, guys, you can catch us on Mondays and Thursdays on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you guys for listening. We appreciate you guys for keeping going with the Reds. And like always, go Reds.